It's a long, hard road to getting my project area table back to be able to do stuff with hardware again, now isn't it?
The wacky world of MultimediaJay.
Dust. Brand new router, haven't been plugged in, and it's already collecting dust because of what's not going on around here. I gotta tear myself away from playing through my gaming backlogs to make progress on anything else, and this is no exception. So after the better part of a month between UPS being slammed because it's holiday humbug season and eStarland being slammed because it's holiday humbug season, they finally processed my trade-in. Which means that even if I sent a new trade-in today, there is absolutely zero chance that they would have it processed in time for Christmas. So the trade-in values are probably lower because by the time they get it in through the door and processed in and whatnot, the holiday humbug season will be over and prices will probably drop after everybody has spent their money. So I'm trying to figure out what to do about this eStarland thing. But unfortunately, eStarland prefers games and trade-in stuff being sent in huge chunks of shipments instead of a little at a time. So I really got to figure this out. I might very well just put all this stuff back on the shelf and then revisit this in the spring after the late winter doldrums when it comes to prices and who wants to spend money on what. Get through that Q1 dead zone, so to speak, and then revisit this in the spring. For now, though, I didn't get to talking about the games that I'd want to send to eStarland and the games I didn't want to send to eStarland last go around. So let's get to it this time, if I can remember what the heck I'm saying. It's been a rough autumn. It's been a rough early winter so far, but at least I have some energy on the weekends. The problem with eStarland is that they give you the really good trade-in values because they only take really high-quality stuff and they shrink-wrap everything. If you've ever seen videos of people shopping at eStarland, basically it's like buying the game as close to new as possible, even if it's on an old system. They have incredibly strict trade-in guidelines, so a lot of these games, despite being mint and barely played, would not be accepted by eStarland. Beginning with my Sega Genesis collection from PlayStation 3. Great game, mint condition, barely played it. Unfortunately, some water damage or whatnot happened to the label on the insert, so they probably wouldn't take it because of the condition of the insert here. Yeah, any kind of like damage or, the label's not good or something like that, or they might knock it down and only give me the trade-in credit for a loose disc and stuff. If the labels or the inserts are damaged, it's actually a copyright issue if they print anything besides generic Gamestop style replacements for them. So that's part of why eStarland is what they are here. I don't know, though. I think I might want to keep this Sonic Genesis collection anyways for PS3, because there is a Steam version, and I have the Genesis stuff on Steam, but Sega has been doing Divide and Conquer on Steam. They took Sonic out of the Genesis collection on Steam because there's a totally different Sonic game you can spend even more money on to get just those Sonic games and stuff along those lines. So this is one of the weird things with these compilation games from like PS2, PS3, is that this might be the last time you have one disc with literally an entire like IP owner, in this case Sega's, collection of games on them, because so many of these rights holders are playing Divide and Conquer games on Steam these days. Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2 on the PlayStation 2. There is a Steam HD remake of these games that I could play on PC. Unfortunately, I can't get rid of both of these games because of eStarland. They would take Final Fantasy X, they would not take Final Fantasy II. Why? A little something those of us gamers from the 2000s got annoyed by many, many years ago. They don't want stuff with stickers they can't get off. So every single used game you ever bought where GameStop was a jackass and put a price sticker on the insert underneath the plastic, like this one, they don't want. Now, I can get really, really good at using a heat gun to try and get this sticker off hopefully without torching the rest of the insert or something like that. I do have a hairdryer I could use to keep the heat under control. I actually use the hairdryer as a heat gun more than as an actual hairdryer. But seriously now, this is like the ultimate slap in the face from all those GameStop games in the 2000s and the 2010s. I haven't been to GameStop in years, so I don't know if they're still doing it nowadays, but those stupid-ass GameStop stickers that these morons always put on the inside, underneath the plastic, ruining the insert, eStarland won't take them. Pathetic. Screw you, GameStop. I'm glad you're barely still in business. Psychonauts. I have this on Steam. I can play it in high def on Steam. It's part of my Steam backlog. Unfortunately, the PlayStation 2 one that I got was loose disc only, or it came in a case with no insert. So PS2 or something like that. Either way, this would dock me with eStarland because I just printed it off on, printed off a photocopy of it, so it's not the original label. And it's a problem if they sell something with this on it, so they would probably only give me the loose disc thing for this, and they'd basically just take this out and put something generic in. It actually is a copyright issue if they sell something like this with reproduction or not the original label. Unless it's something I create completely from scratch, like if I do like fan art or something, but how pathetic. Of course, I only paid a couple bucks for this game used anyway, so I shouldn't be surprised when I get a pittance back for it. One of the most underrated games of the 2000s. It used to be, I think it was, GameStop? Not GameStop. It was like GameSpot's one of their best games that nobody played thing back during the Majesco days. So, I do have this. I have this on PC, though, so I don't really see much of the reason for, even having this around, because it's on PC these days, but I don't know. If someone knows of something special about the PS2 version, I could play it on PCSX2 if I really wanted to, but I already have it on PC, so. 18-wheeler! American Pro Trucker. Used to love the coin-op version of this game back in college because it had like a big rigged steering wheel and gear shifts and paddles and the whole 9 yards. It was really fun to play. Of course, it didn't translate very well onto the home consoles on the Dreamcast and the PS2, going from that big setup to thumbsticks. I'm actually keeping this game, but it's just another obnoxious example of those freaking GameStop stickers. Oh man, this thing would be mint and complete in box if only it didn't have that stupid ass sticker on it. Fortunately, this is one of the ones I actually want to keep. Okay, the router is gone. Let's free up some space that way and look at the single saddest gaming purchase I've ever made. Super Mario Maker for the Wii U. I'm the original owner of this. I bought it when it was new and it was a $60 release. This thing is mint. It even still has the bonus material, that idea book and stuff like that. This thing is mint, and it is useless. You can't upload new levels anymore, and the remaining levels on the online service for the Wii U version are gonna go away when the service is shut down in a couple of months. Talk about getting yourself stung by games as a service. This is the single biggest stinger in terms of games as a service that I've ever encountered in terms of a purchase being rendered useless arbitrarily by Nintendo. So, a lot of people like to say, oh, physical media, it's a great thing because you don't have, stuff disappearing on you like you do with digital. Not always. This is probably a wonderful example of a physical game that is going to become useless at Nintendo's discretion. when everything's taken offline. And who knows, maybe if the Wii U had sold more, it might still stick around for a while. But this casts a very big shadow on its successor on the Switch. If Nintendo comes out with a successor to the Switch and it's not backward compatible, and they redo all the games all over again to get people to rebuy them for the successor to the Switch, will the same thing happen to the Switch version of the game? Games as a service, and ways that your memories of playing certain games get destroyed arbitrarily by companies that don't keep, retro stuff alive. How sad. This is probably the saddest gaming purchase that I've ever made. Absolutely mint. Absolutely, I'm the original owner. $9 at eStarland. Even though it has everything. The silent march of time, baby. The silent march of time.
Epic fail.
Slowly but surely, I am getting my table back. But, yeah, after the disappointment that was Super Mario Maker, let's just talk about games and whether or not to send them and what I think of them at this point, because I think that's what the whole video is going to turn into at this point. Lego Batman. Now, here's a game that can go to eStarland. It is mint. I'm the original owner. And I am basically not for resale, not for individual return or exchange. Maybe I shouldn't send it back, I don't know. This was the pack-in game with my PS2 Slim. It is now on Steam. I wonder if they'd take this, because that, not for resale individually. I don't know. I just totally forgot about that, which shows just how long it's been since I played this PS2 version of it. Mint, complete in box. It's got a later version PlayStation 2 case, but it is from Amaray. Later version that doesn't have a thing for a memory card, so it is a late era PS2 game, definitely. But yeah, Lego Batman, the video game. There's a version of it on Steam now. Actually, the entire Lego Batman trilogy is on Steam now, so I don't know why I need the PS2 version still sitting around. Grand Theft Auto 4 Red Label PS3 complete with DLC for PS3. So this is interesting in and of itself because Grand Theft Auto 4, as we know for us PC gamers, has a very rocky history. The PC port is terrible, and the original version of it was totally strangled by DRM. So one of the reasons why I even have a console version of this is because I didn't want to play the horrendously DRM crippled PC version. Well, now we have the horrendously crippled but not by DRM PC version, which I have on Steam. I've modded it a couple of times to get it running a little more smoothly, but weirdly enough, it's just strange how Grand Theft Auto 4 translates so poorly to the modern gaming era of the 2020s, because probably the best way to play this game now is digitally. These old console versions, they have frame rate limitations, they're chuggy, stuff like that, and of course the graphics are old because the game's from 2006. But the version on Xbox Live Arcade these days has a 60 FPS patch, so if you don't mind dialing back the graphics to the Xbox 360 but getting smooth frame rates, maybe it's like GTA 4 Fortnite or something, then yeah, that's actually probably the preferable experience of literally anything else out there, including the PC version. It's a reason to buy an Xbox. Weird. But it's just interesting how Grand Theft Auto 4 has done so badly. And yet GTA 5, it's all over the place, it's been on everything, the PC port runs well, and it had like the role-playing scene in it and everything. Just the difference between GTA 4 and GTA 5 has been astounding. But the fact that I wound up with a PS3 version of this just goes to show how the huge difference between these two GTAs in terms of how they've translated to various game platforms over the years. Well now, a lot can happen in a couple of days now, can't it? It's a couple of days later, I'm on vacation in the run-up to Christmas, and things have gotten completely and totally scrambled. I took Super Mario Maker out of the box and actually started playing it again, getting some return on investment before I eStarland this thing back, but I don't know when that next thing is going to be. I also finally have Breath of the Wild, the Wii U version of it, which probably means in this lovely day and age after the Wii U store shut down that I'm only going to have the base game with no DLC. Still though, it's cheapo Breath of the Wild until I decide whether I want to even bother with a Switch, and that depends greatly on what Nintendo does with the Switch's successor. The Nintendo Switch and all of this stuff Nintendo's been doing, as well as PlayStation's little debacle with digital rights and movie ownership on the PlayStation Store, have got me really reconsidering my involvement with digital games as anything more than a matter of convenience. Just a matter of weird markets these days. The thing is, I have Wii and Wii U covered with the Wii U that I have that I'm the original owner of. So, I mean, that thing is mint. I've barely used it in the past 10 years. So it's just chugging along, and now I'm finally playing Breath of the Wild. It took me long enough. I do have a real PlayStation 2 that I could hook back up through my component setup. Just needs a little bit of a clean here and there. But the emulation capabilities of PlayStation 2 are amazing. PCSX2, in its current form, basically turns PlayStation 2 games into rather janky PC games, which look good in just the right places, although you can still see evidence that it's 20-year-old games, and you might have to stretch it out a bit because most PlayStation 2 games date back to the era before widescreen. Doesn't feel like that long ago when you're my age, but believe me, older millennials, it is. It was, I should say. Let's go through the rest of these games, because it looks like most of what I'm going to want to send to eStarland is just me getting out of mobile gaming, because in a power outage situation, I probably will just have an extra phone or something with a battery box. Set up a gaming phone or something like that to use as a mobile system. I don't really need anything similar to like my old DS that I've spent more years using as an alarm clock than as an actual DS. So I just, when you have a nice setup like I do, you don't want to go down to a little 2-inch screen unless you have no other choice. But on the PlayStation 2 front, it's wild. Because here's Crazy Taxi, Greatest Hits Edition. I think I paid like $5 for this, used. It's in like new condition. It has the manual, right? Yeah, this sucker is mint. You run this through PCSX2, and you have all the original music, including the Offspring music. The Steam version, sometimes it has it, sometimes it doesn't, and there's patches in case you get it at a time when it doesn't. When I see Crazy Taxi getting a patch on Steam, I'm like, another issue with the music. They gotta swap the music out. Whatever, man. This thing, however, is what it is and what it was back in those days. And it really speaks to the permanence of old-fashioned, not even disc-based, but physical-based gaming, not like the key disc stuff that we have today with the Xbox Series consoles, where you just buy something and you have a copy of it. The end. No nonsense, no games as a service, no stuff that'll get taken away later, or tech issues that might get introduced because of online features shutting down. But Crazy Taxi, PlayStation 2 version through PCSX2 actually delivers a better experience than what's available on Steam. It's crazy what's happened with that these days. And I gotta think about that with regards to some of these JRPGs too, like Final Fantasy XII. There's an HD remake on Steam. Do I even want to bother with it though, when this game will resemble a old PC game, but still more than a PS2 game if I run it through PCSX2. Then I picked up Star Ocean Till the End of Time, which was a PlayStation 2 game. I recognized Star Ocean as a JRPG franchise. I was like, oh, I gotta get that. It's like $10 at the time, so not very expensive. So it's just from a local store, so JRPGs are not as popular around here, so either way. And then there's this one. This one can definitely go to eStarland. The Wii U version of Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens. I have the PC version of this. This is one of the dumbest Wii U purchases I have ever made, because I thought this was a bargain at $20 at Target, and then I found out there was a PC version when I got home, and I was like, screw it. I picked it up on Steam during a Steam sale a little later on, but I really should have just returned this. But wandering back into Target with a Wii U game they were desperately trying to get rid of, I don't know. Either way, what I'm going to say goodbye to, and this is one of the reasons why I'm doing the eStarland thing, Game Boy Advance Final Fantasies. The Final Fantasy games have been redone in Pixel Perfect releases and stuff over on Steam these days. I mostly bought these Final Fantasies for the Game Boy Advance to play during power outages, like when we had a big windstorm come through, like what we had earlier this week. When I lived more out in the woods, we lose power for a couple of days, so I'd use my car jump starter to keep my Nintendo DS, that one, and its predecessor, the original one, and the Game Boy Advance charged, and I would just play through these Final Fantasy games when the lights were out, so I'd have something to do in the evenings. Then there's Final Fantasy III for the DS. That's one I bought used. It's a no manual, but at least I have a case for it. Also, another game that has been superseded by Steam. The Final Fantasy IV DS, also 3D remake, is also a thing I have on Steam nowadays. So, this is the real thing with being a PC gamer, is that you gotta figure out if the multiplats are worth it, because unless it's a crappy port like Grand Theft Auto 4 or the PC port of Chrono Trigger and its 15 frame per second chugfest, if you know how good the multiplat is, you're probably just gonna play it on PC most of the time. I think I'll set something up for eStarland because I want to buy some more stuff from them, and I have some orders on the way from them to pad out my Wii U collection with games I never got to play during the heyday of the Wii U. Now they're super cheap because everybody has the Switch versions instead. I don't care if I play base games with no DLC though. So, just so you know, I am not completely clueless when it comes to certain Mario and Zelda games. Hey, I refer to the Wii U as the proto-Switch, and I do that for a reason. Okay, so now that eStarland has completely scrambled my views on video games, here's the plan. They owe me a shipment of some stuff that I ordered with that store credit from those controllers I sent earlier. When that arrives, I will repurpose whatever box it came in to send this stuff out. We're getting out of handheld gaming permanently. DS, gone. These remaining Final Fantasy games for handhelds, gone. Everything will be on a big screen. Speaking of big screen, we're getting rid of Lego Batman for PS2, which is redundant to the Lego Batman trilogy I just picked up on Steam. Grand Theft Auto 4, which the reason why I have the PS3 version of this to begin with is because of all the horrendous DRM that was in the Games for Windows Live version of it back in those days. So, all that awful DRM from 2000s PC gaming. Anyways, so that's the only reason I even had this, but it's a console version. It looks like pea soup. It's not very good looking, not very good playing, chugs along, almost as much of a chug fest as Ocarina of Time. But anyways, so yeah, this is now redundant to the PC version, which runs horribly until you turn the Steam overlay back on. I have no idea why, but turning on the Steam overlay fixes the stuttering in the current Steam version of Grand Theft Auto 4. And here I was thinking I'd have to buy it on the Xbox Marketplace to run it at 60 frames per second. Either way. Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens on Wii U, the biggest joke of a purchase I ever made. Found out afterwards there was a PC version after I thought I was getting a deal on this. Yeah. And let's bite the bullet on Super Mario Maker. We know it's going to become for a collector's item, as in only collectors who want every single Wii U game ever will still be playing Super Mario Maker or even purchasing Super Mario Maker after the online services for the Wii U and 3DS are shut down. It'd be nice if we could not put a big, okay, let's just do this angle. Let's just go over here, wheel ourselves over here, and yeah. So, let's bite the bullet on Super Mario Maker. It's mint, I'm the original owner, barely did anything with this game, played it a little to get my money's worth, but that's going to be the extent of it with the Wii U, because really, I'm not going to be sitting there like a moron making Mario Maker levels on a Wii U gamepad from 10 years ago just to play them myself afterwards. Just no. I might revisit this if I ever by chance get into a Switch or the Switch's successor, but the original Super Mario Maker, it was fun while it lasted, even though I barely played it. So let's bite the bullet on that. Let's make at least the tiniest bit of progress in decluttering and getting things in order around here, because quite frankly, things have been too sloppy for far too long. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay, signing off. Thanks for stopping by.